Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, near a big forest, there lived a poor woodcutter, his wife, and his 2 kids. The boy's name was Hansel and the girl's was Gretel. They were very poor. One year, the food was very little, and the woodcutter worried a lot. At night, he said to his wife, "What will happen to us? How can we feed our kids if we have no food for ourselves?" The wife had a plan. "Let's take the kids to the forest," she said. "We will give them a fire and a little bread, then leave them. They won't find their way back." "No," the husband said. "I can't leave my kids alone in the woods." But the wife did not stop talking about it until he said yes. He felt very sad for his kids. Hansel and Gretel couldn't sleep because they were so hungry. They heard what their stepmother said. Gretel cried, but Hansel said, "Don't worry. I will find a way to save us." After their parents slept, Hansel went outside. The moon was bright, and white pebbles shone like silver. He filled his pockets with them. Then he told Gretel to sleep and said everything will be okay. In the morning, before the sun was up, the stepmother woke them up. "Get up," she said. "We are going to get wood." She gave them a piece of bread for lunch and told them not to eat it before lunchtime. Hansel had pebbles in his pocket, and Gretel put her bread under her apron. Then they all went to the forest. As they walked, Hansel kept looking back. His dad asked why. Hansel said he was looking at his white cat, but really, he was dropping pebbles on the ground. In the forest, the dad told the kids to collect wood for a fire to keep warm. They made a big fire. The stepmother said, "Rest here. We will get wood and come back for you." Hansel and Gretel sat by the fire in the forest. They ate their bread at noon. They heard what sounded like an axe. They thought it was their father, but it was just the wind moving a branch. They were so tired that they fell asleep. When they woke up, it was night. Gretel was scared and cried. Hansel said, "Don't cry. We'll find the way when the moon is up." The moon came up, and they saw the shiny pebbles. The pebbles led them all the way home. They walked all night and finally got to their house at sunrise. They knocked on the door. The stepmother asked why they were so late. But the father was happy to see them. He missed them a lot. Soon, there was no food again. At night, the children heard their mother tell their father, "We have half a loaf of bread left. The kids must go. We will leave them deeper in the woods." The father was sad, but the mother made him agree. The kids were awake and heard everything. Hansel wanted to get pebbles again, but the door was locked. He told Gretel, "Don't cry. God will help us." In the morning, the stepmother took them into the woods again. They got a little piece of bread. Hansel broke his bread and dropped pieces on the ground. The father asked why he kept stopping. Hansel said he was looking at his pigeon, saying goodbye. But it was really the sun on the chimney. The stepmother took them deeper into the forest than ever. She made a big fire and told them to sit there. "You can sleep, and we'll come get you later," she said. At noon, Gretel shared her bread with Hansel. They fell asleep, and when they woke up, it was dark. No one came for them. Hansel said, "When the moon is up, we'll follow the bread crumbs." But the moon rose, and there were no crumbs. Birds had eaten them all. They tried to find their way home, but they couldn't. They walked all day and were very hungry. They only found a few berries to eat. They were so tired that they lay down under a tree and slept. 3 days had passed since Hansel and Gretel left their home. They kept walking, but only went deeper into the forest. They were very hungry and tired. They needed help soon, or they would not survive. At noon, they saw a white bird. It sang beautifully. They stopped to listen. When the song ended, the bird flew away. They followed it. It led them to a small house. The house was made of bread with a cake roof and sugar windows. "Let's eat," said Hansel. "I will eat a piece of the roof." "Gretel, you can eat a window. It will be sweet." Hansel broke off some roof to taste it. Gretel nibbled on a window. A voice from inside the house asked, "Who is eating my house?" The kid said, "It is the wind," and kept eating. Hansel took more of the roof. Gretel took out a whole window and ate it. Then an old woman came out of the house. She used crutches. The children dropped their food. They were scared. But the woman said, "Dear children, come in. You are safe with me." She took them inside. Inside, they had milk, pancakes with sugar, apples, and nuts. Then they slept in clean beds. It felt like heaven. But the old woman was not kind. She was a witch. She built the house to trap children. When she caught a child, she would eat it. Witches have red eyes and can't see well, but they can smell people coming. When the witch saw the children, she was happy. She said, "They will not get away this time." The next morning, she took Hansel to a little cage and locked him in. He could not get out, no matter how much he screamed. Then she woke up Gretel. "Cook for your brother," she said. "When he's fat, I will eat him." Gretel cried, but she had to do what the witch said. Hansel got good food every day, but Gretel only got crab shells. Each morning, the witch asked Hansel to show his finger. She wanted to see if he was getting fat. Hansel tricked her by showing her a bone instead. The witch had bad eyes and thought the bone was Hansel's thin finger. After 4 weeks, Hansel was still thin. The witch got mad. She couldn't wait to eat him. She told Gretel to get water. "Fat or not, I will cook Hansel tomorrow," she said. Gretel was very sad. She cried and prayed for help. But the witch told her to be quiet. The next morning, Gretel had to light a fire and get water. The witch said they would bake bread first. She had warmed up the oven. She told Gretel to check the oven to see if it was hot enough for the bread. But the witch planned to lock Gretel in the oven and eat her too. Gretel knew the witch's plan. She pretended not to know how to check the oven. "Silly girl," the witch said. "Look, it's easy." The witch put her head in the oven. Then, Gretel pushed her in and locked the oven door. The witch screamed, but she died in the fire. Gretel ran to save Hansel. "The witch is dead," she said. They hugged and danced. They were free and safe now. They found treasure in the witch's house. "Better than pebbles," Hansel said, filling his pockets. Gretel filled her apron. "Let's leave this forest," said Hansel. They walked for hours until they came to a big water. "How do we cross?" Hansel asked. There was no bridge. Gretel saw a white duck. She asked the duck to help them. Little duck, can you see? Take us across, we're as nice as can be." The duck helped them over, one by one. Soon, they knew where they were. They saw their father's house. They ran to him and hugged him. Their father was so happy. The stepmother was gone. Gretel poured out her treasures. Hansel added more from his pockets. They were rich now. They were all happy and had no more worries.